Okay, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our Targhee Tango Sport yarn, which every Barn Box member is receiving a skein of in the darkest Apolado shade. This yarn is shipped to you in unwashed skeins, which means that the wool is fully scoured and clean, but after spinning, the mill that we work with doesn't have the capacity to wash hundreds and hundreds of skeins. So it's shipped to us unwashed, and when you receive it, it may appear a little bit different than other yarns that you've used. So unwashed skeins tend to look very smooth, and they might feel, the yarn might feel a little stiff. It's not very elastic. As you can see, I'm pulling on this and it's stretching a little bit. But this washed piece, you can see how much it will plump up after washing, which is really cool. The cool thing about unwashed skeins is that when you work with them and then wash the fabric, a wonderful transformation takes place. The yarn puffs up and blooms and becomes soft and cushy like this piece, and far more elastic than it is in its unwashed state. So I wanted to explain a few little things about washing these yarn, working with these yarns and washing them. So when you knit with them, they might feel slightly stiff and a little bit, maybe a little stringy maybe, instead of that cushy, spongy feeling. So this is an unwashed swatch, and then you can see what a difference washing makes. So the unwashed swatch, the stitches are not as regular. There's a little bit of space between them that you can see. And the fabric also may, especially with stockinette based patterns, may bias a little bit in the unwashed state. But then when you wash it, and this has just been washed and laid flat to dry, it hasn't been blocked severely or anything like that, you can see that the surface is so much more consistent and smooth, and the fabric has spread out nicely and flattened out a little bit, but also the density of the fabric, it feels spongy and soft, and the hand is nice and soft and flannelly feeling, as opposed to this one, which is, it tends to, be a little bit stiff. Now I've gone ahead and swatched in some different stitch patterns for you, just so that you can see how versatile this yarn is. I'm gonna put these aside for a second. Put my scraps aside. I've got a slip stitch pattern here that's kind of a cool, I love the look of this one. I may design a shawl with it. Here's a knit purl rib pattern. It's nice and stretchy and cohesive and spongy. I've got a lace pattern. Look at that. I love a tweedy rustic yarn knit up into lace stitches. I just think it's so organic looking. Really pretty. And of course, this yarn is wonderful for cables. Once the fabric is washed, the cables stand proud of the background just beautifully and hold their shape just so well. And they look so crisp and firm, and yet at the same time the fabric is nice and stretchy and elastic. It'll have nice give for a sweater. So I'm going to take this unwashed swatch now, and you can wash this yarn in hot water because it's not dyed, in hot water with a little wool soap. I use water as hot as I can get it from the tap, and I just let the piece sink into the hot water. You can see all the air bubbles coming up out of it. Just tell me when. That's good. Now the water may turn slightly dark. That's the spinning oil coming off of the fabric. And it'll cloud up a little bit as well. And I'll just let this sit here for about an hour or until the water cools. Then I'll squeeze it out in a towel and lay it flat to dry, and it'll be good to go. So that's our unwashed Targhee Tango Sport by Bare Naked Wools.